Hey, greetings. At the moment, YaH-VeH has me situated at the edge of the Gulf of Mexico on what they call Sunset Beach, Treasure Island, Florida. This is the west coast of Florida. That view right there is facing Mexico and Corpus Christi, Texas. That's the Gulf of Mexico in the background. I just grabbed this as a background setting for this chat. The hidden things, the special things in scroll publishing, and the reasons for saturation in the last Reformation. In scroll publishing, David Berceau has found some awesome stuff, some amazing stuff. Very briefly, very quickly, the gifts of the Holy Spirit. The study on the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Clearly, the Holy Spirit gifts continued. And the ministry of widows and virgins. In the teaching referred to as what the early Christians believed about the ministry of widows and virgins, David Berceau discovered that the altar of incense in the temple was referred to as the ones walking single like Jesus, which is completely logical. Think about this. We are told that in the next realm, we will be like the angels in heaven. Remember, we were designed for the Garden of Eden, not for the fall. We actually were designed for the Garden of Eden, no pain, no death. So we're living in the valley of the shadow of death between the Garden of Eden that we were designed for and the life of kind of singleness like the angels, where we don't have a person that we're connected with. We don't have children that we can be concerned about or pamper or idolize, and we don't have parents that we could treat the same way. Either follow them, the sins of your fathers. It's constantly mentioned. You are behaving just like the generation before you was behaving. So in the next realm, we will not have people problems. We will be in side-by-side delight at satisfaction with being in the presence of our designer. And we will feel that satisfaction. So the ministry of widows and virgins is interesting, because when you picture the temple, picture Jesus teaching these commercial fishermen in the temple, about the temple. You've got the table with the showbread, and you've got the lampstand, which represents the Holy Spirit. The table with the showbread represents Jesus, the bread that came down from heaven. And the bowl, the altar of incense, represents those human beings who are burning and saying a strong and cheerful no to the marriage bed, even though they know how delightful and marvelous it is and how well they were designed for it. With a joy and a cheerfulness, they are saying no to the flesh, the blood, the blending of the blood, and they are like a burning sacrifice, because that burn is, they're saying no to the former and yes to the things that are coming. So they're operating like the angels, like children, child-hearted angels, single ones, supporting the marriages, helping the marriages stay alive, helping the children, helping the family, being the favorite aunties and uncles, not cloistered monks and nuns, but the examples to everybody of what we're going to live like in the next realm. Delighted, complete, remembering God, full of God, guided by God, totally God-focused, And yes, the pastor, shepherd, elder, overseer is a married one with peaceable children, because that's a really difficult thing to do in this age. And that's a great example for the many, many more are going to marry and enjoy the marriage bed and make babies and do all that stuff that we're designed to do. But a few are going to be the altar of incense. So in scroll publishing, what the early Christians believed about the ministry of widows and virgins, resurrect that. And also, what an early Christian worship service was like. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If we don't want to check that out, I mean, Shakalavo Soko. I mean, it's so amazing to hear the way, the flow. Get that one. Listen to that one. So important. And also, the two places in Acts chapter 6 and in 1 Corinthians 9, if you really look at those two places, you see that there's a team of people that's out on the street, and in various places and in people's homes, teaching. They're moving around. They got miracle power on their hands, and they're teaching. You know, I mean, Philip, because of the miracles Philip made, they all listened to him. Because of the miracles, they all listened to him. Because of the miracles, they all listened to him. Multiply that through all the disciples. I mean, Philip is selected as no, he's not selected as deacon, but Paul, I mean, Peter is saying, select a group of people to be deacons, to be servants, to be business people, people full of the Holy Spirit. And you see Stephen as an example of a person who's full of the Holy Spirit, flowing with God truth. That's the ordinary disciple. They're just pick out some ordinary disciples full of the Holy Spirit, full of the power. And so these people who go out and do miracles, people are listening to them because the miracles have drawn the attention. Ain't that awesome? So if you look at those two places, Acts chapter 6 and 1 Corinthians 9, Paul says, look, all of the sent ones are being supported by the people. And they've got their wives and their families with them. And they're basically sharing homes. They're sharing homes with people as they move about and as they go to places and as they work in public. Miracles, signs, and wonders. They were watching Jesus flowing with miracle signs and wonders for 3 years straight. When you've watched people flow with when you've watched one guy flow with miracles for 3 years straight, when you watch him put power on ordinary people and they go out and flow with miracles, when you see him put power on 70 people and they go out and they flow with miracles, you're getting the picture that we are called to have a spirit put on us that causes us to flow with miracles. So if that doesn't make you seriously desperate to go amongst the last Reformation people where God is actually driving off the unbelief, taking ordinary people. I mean, just Peter Allman's story is so marvelous. He was such a skeptic. He did not believe that miracles were going to happen through his hands. He did not feel that that was going to happen. I mean, that is so noteworthy. If that does not motivate you to desperately get where those people are, and this thing that's coming up in Moncton it's rough for me. I want to be there. I want to be there. I want to spend a couple of weeks at the Jesus Hotel. Will you help me get to the Jesus Hotel? I'm serious. I'm asking you a point-blank question. I mean, I'm on kidney dialysis. They can plug me into a machine anywhere in this world and keep me alive. Chaharabotoso. I am desperately desiring to be amongst those people for long enough that I receive that confidence that the miracle signs and wonders will and are going to flow through my hands. And do I have to go to a certain special place in order to receive that? Well, guess what? The people actually had to travel to where Jesus was to be in the midst of observing the miracle powers. Sometimes you actually got to cut loose and get somewhere in order to be in the midst of the action. You can't just sit around and expect that God's going to come around and get to where you are. If the news comes to your ear and that there is an opportunity to actually flow with the actual miracles of Jesus, if you don't have the insight and the capability to burn some bridges and rip up some calendars and get there, then, maybe you're not going to be given. I mean, there's all these scriptures that say, make every effort to build, make every effort to increase your faith, make every effort to add spiritual excellence and layers of detail to the spiritual power of your life. These things are important. Please get some of the wpfilms library. wpfilms, Darren Wilson, Wanderlust Productions. Get yourself a copy of Finger of God Deluxe version and watch it a couple of times. Get Furious Love Deluxe version. Watch it a couple of times. Watch the last Reformation videos. Saturate in that stuff. It drives off the spirits of unbelief. Look at the videos. Look at the ordinary people's faces who are shocked when miracles from heaven flow through them. This is your life. This is the gift to your life. And I'm giving you these things as reminders. Please be aware that the worship center, Roman Forum meeting place, the auditorium style church gathering is not the earliest church gathering. The earliest church gathering for 300 years was in homes. And the picture of Rome accepting Christianity and allowing them to meet in these big forums where you can have 200 to 500 people, that means you need a talking head and you need people that can sing good. But it's very difficult to do the most important thing, which is being still together before God and admitting our faults and even allowing a person of serious insight to say, you know what? You have too many cars and not enough people in your house. You know what? There's too much of this and not enough of that. How come you have all this and there are no orphans with you whatsoever? James, the half-brother of Jesus, says, here's religion. Watch your mouth. Watch how you talk and what you talk about and what your tone of voice is. Watch your mouth. Care for suffering children. Care for suffering women. And do not imitate the bad behavior of people around you. And the worst behavior of people around you is excess. Too many clothes, too many cars, too much space without sharing, not enough togetherness and familyness, and not a community, and not honesty times. A lack of honesty times. Those are the omissive sins that we are imitating in the ones around us. Please beware. Heads up.